Got a star in heaven that we can be. Welcome to another episode of From the Inbox, a podcast. If my math is correct, this is episode number 10, which is pretty big. Part radio show, part podcast, all music. I'm your host, Ken Wilkinson, as usual. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. And let me introduce myself. I'm Ken Wilkinson. Hello, nice to meet you. And if you're a returning listener, then thank you for coming back and listening again. That's very sweet of you. And don't forget, I'm Ken Wilkinson. Hello. Now, before I go any further, I need you to hit the like, subscribe, follow, whatever you do on the corresponding streaming service or on YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening from. Just make sure you're following to get notifications whenever I drop a new episode. I've been doing this for 10 weeks now, basically. Tuesdays, people. Check them out. And if you haven't already figured it out, I also do interviews now with artists, and I put up the full interview as a separate episode, a little mini episode. Last week on Friday, I released my conversation I had with Edmonton-based artist Vicia. The full interview's up there From the Inbox and on YouTube. And this week, I've got a clip on this show right now from Vancouver-based artist Michaela Slinger, but the full interview, the full conversation is going to be released separately as well this week if you want to hear us talk about more fun stuff. All right, so since I've been talking, have you clicked that follow button yet? Did you like? Did you subscribe? Do it. Okay, thank you. So I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee recently, like the little mini-series with Jerry Seinfeld. And every time he and his guests sat down in some spot to get their coffee or their lunch or whatever it was, it made me really miss those days before lockdown where you could just, do that. I'm not sure where you're listening from, but in Toronto, it's pretty bad. Like there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. You can't even enter somewhere without being like yelled at to get out. But I just miss it, being able to sit down, especially on like a Saturday or Sunday morning around 11 a.m. There's a small hangover, just like nibbling at your frontal lobe, and you order a coffee, maybe a Caesar too if you're feeling it, and boom. You get that generic white ceramic mug. You know the one. It looks like it's from like a Chinese knockoff IKEA. It's pretty thick and fat. It makes it look like you're drinking more coffee than you actually are. You know the one. But the first sip from that mug, it's so underrated. That 2-hour-old coffee just hits differently when you're waiting for your overpriced eggs and pancakes. I don't know. Freshly brewed coffee from my own coffee maker just doesn't do it. There's not enough risk involved. Okay? I want something more dangerous. I want a mug that has both been washed and not been washed. It has that look to it. You know what I'm saying? I want a mug that you just never know with it. And the best part is when the waitress or the waiter comes around and they're carrying two different mugs. One in each hand with the mystery coffee. Do you want decaf or regular? Who knows if they're even telling the truth? What's the deal with the coffee? Back when I worked at this spot that had brunch and I was, offering people coffee, half the time, if we didn't have a pot of decaf, you're getting regular. And if you didn't have a pot of regular, you're probably going to get decaf, which is less harmful and mean, I guess. But still, there's still a risk involved that you're probably not getting the right type of coffee. Not because we didn't hear you. It's just because we don't have any. We just don't want to wait around for 5 minutes. And this is not me apologizing, by the way. This is not an apology for ever doing that to any customer I may have accidentally kept up late by my mistaked coffee. It's just part of the job, man. You order the wrong type of brown water, dirt water thing, coffee, you're running the risk of getting the wrong one. It just happens, okay? But speaking of coffee, you can now support the blog through a great site called buymeacoffee.com. It's very, very similar to Patreon, except you don't have to commit to a monthly membership. That's the nice thing. So right now, it's just donations based. I got to set it up a bit more, but I'll be doing shoutouts as compensation for now. Speaking of which, my first supporters, the Diskettes, this wonderful group I covered on Dusty Organ not too long ago. They gave me a nice, generous first donation. They bought me 2 coffees. 2 coffees. I had one this morning, and we have one tomorrow. Thank you very much. You can find some of their music on Dusty Organ, like I just said, if you're curious. They got a cool, 60s infused art pop sound. Just search Diskettes on Dusty Organ. You can find them. Thank you guys again for that generous donation. But if you're more interested in getting something for your buck, you can support me on Patreon. There's some merch options and a personalized mix CD that I'm willing to make you. No one has taken me up on the offer yet, people. Clearly, no one's ever made you a handmade mix CD because you don't understand how great that is. I would love that. But here I am trying to make them for you. So go ahead, go subscribe to Patreon. All those links are up on the website. They're available through my Instagram bio too. And if you do, I think there's probably something cool involved as well. Like I will sing you a song or something. I've said this before. Just go check them out. But there's also the shop option at dustyorgan.com/shop. Don't forget, you're listening to this podcast, which means you get $5 off my winter bundle, which means it's $20 all in. Free shipping if you're within Canada. And that includes a toque, sticker, button, set of coasters, and a secret ULR code exclusively for winter bundle purchases. It's such a steal. I'm practically giving them away. And there's nothing wrong with looking stylish while supporting some great content, right, people? If you're listening to this, you know it's great content, or else you wouldn't be wasting your precious hour with me here, guys. So stop hiding the truth from yourself. I just realized I haven't even mentioned what's on this week's show. It's going to be great. There's 5 tracks on this week's episode. 4 of them are on this new blog post from the inbox. And one of them is on last week's post that I completely left out of the recording. And that was not on purpose. It's a really good song. That's why I wanted to bring it back and share it with you guys. Just a little rookie mistake, we'll say. And yeah. As well as I mentioned before, there's going to be a clip from my interview with singer-songwriter Michaela Slinger talking about her new single, Make You Sad, which was featured on the new blog post as well. And it's going to be played for you on the show. She's a very, very talented artist and a fantastic human being. I've only known her for like half an hour technically, but she left a great first impression. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And there's so much happening in this show. No wonder you guys are watching and listening. I would be too if I was not recording it. Later in the show, I'm going to be making a very special announcement. So don't go anywhere, people. Let's cut to commercial. Just kidding, there's no commercials. So you don't want to miss out on some big exciting news now, would you? Speaking of commercials, if anyone wants to, do an ad, there's plenty of room where I'm rambling right now. This could be me talking about your company or your product or whatever instead of just talking to nothing. So it's an option for you. Just saying. All right, let's get the show started. All right, opening up the show is Yellow Lines from British-American musician Tommy Newport. So now this is the track I wanted to share last week, but forgot. So I'm going to start it right off the bat. So make sure everybody listens to it. Tommy, who's now based out of Wichita, Kansas, was actually born in Manchester. Before hopping in the States with his family, he spent some time living in Dallas before ending up in Kansas. Now, I've never been to Wichita, but from what I've heard, I can't imagine it's the most exciting place to visit, let alone live in. So, Tommy Newport was a bit bored during his teen years, which makes sense. But sometimes being bored can lead to creating something fantastic. And Tommy started experimenting with music from his bedroom as a teenager, and he hasn't looked back since. He put out a debut album back in 2018 called Just to Be Ironic, and it was a very strong first introduction into his lo-fi soul pop style. And now, 3 years later, he's dropped his new single, Yellow Lines, and it's awesome. It's written about the feeling of drifting off while driving on the highway specifically, before suddenly realizing you're behind the wheel. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever just been cruising around and just realized, oh shit, I'm driving? It's scary, thrilling, for the wrong reasons, but it's thrilling. So the song Yellow Lines turns that sensation into this bigger metaphor about life, turning the bouncing synthesizers and groovy bass lines into an upbeat encouragement to take note of where you are in life and to keep things in control. You're going to hear bits of the Gorillaz, even a tinge of the Rolling Stones, certainly Bad Not Good, who he's worked with before, and Tame Impala are all interspersed in this track. You can hear a lot of their influences there. So let's check it out for ourselves. Here is Yellow Lines from Tommy Newport.
I bet your lover's got your heart up on the shelf and you ain't got time for no one else, so you want it more. And I bet this ticking clock is always on your mind. Ain't no one coming round this time, and that's for sure. talk that's always on my mind. My eyes are open, but I'm blind, and yet it hurts, yeah, it hurts. The sun is shining light, but baby, it is far from bright. These clouds are rolling over on the world, on the world. Oh,
There's something very menacing about the phrase, join us and you'll be fine. Like, are you threatening me? What happens if I don't join you? And better question, what happens if I do join you? But that is exactly what Montreal-based new disco group Barry, Paquin, Roberge are saying on their latest single, BPR Strut. Join us and you'll be fine. That's the song title. Fortunately, it's all fun and games, so don't worry. Nothing evil going on here. Or is there? Dun dun dun. But seriously, it's such a fun tune. And while disco kind of died a long time ago, there's still this modern reincarnation that's going around. And this group is doing a fantastic job of staying light and groovy and very fluid. And you might be wondering why the band's name is actually three names combined. Well, that's because BPR is comprised of Etienne Barry, Sébastien Paquin, Alexis Roberge, Jonathan Lafrance, Jocelyn Gagné, and Anna Francis Meyer, all of which come from a handful of different bands in the Montreal music scene, but I guess they just didn't want to go by Barry, Paquin, Roberge, Lafrance, Gagné, Meyer. Not sure why. It's got a nice ring to it. Even BPRLGM. It's great for t-shirts too. Emphasis on the plural because you're going to need more than one t-shirt to fit all the names on there. Their latest single, BPR Strut, Join Us and You'll Be Fine, is a fun-loving, new disco funky track from their upcoming album, Exordium to Ecstasy. And the music video that came out with it really helps pull the song and the band together nicely. The band are guided through this neon-colored vintage workout led by a very strange and hypnotic leader. So if you catch yourself working out alongside of the band, you'll be fine, as long as you don't look into their eyes. And I should make it known that BPR, I almost said PBR, are just as entertaining to watch as they are to listen to. Their colorful stage personalities and flashy outfits put the show in show-stopping. Hopefully they'll be able to tour soon so we can all get a chance to experience the dance party for ourselves. So I highly recommend heading over to the site to watch the music video and the latest From the Inbox blog post. But for now, grab your brightest tights, your flashiest headband, and those 2-pound weights. Give yourself a good stretch and listen to BPR Strut from Barry, Paquin, Roberge.
Shoot
Now, some of you may already be following me on Instagram, in which case you might have seen my post Monday night about this special announcement coming on this episode. Well, I have officially set the date for Dusty Organ's 7th birthday celebration. Woo! That's right. Dusty Organ's been around for 7 years, and if you are learning about Dusty Organ for the first time today, that's okay. I understand. It's a pretty small thing. But don't let it happen again, okay? I'll be very disappointed. But February 27th is the date. Mark it down, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch me on a live stream spinning some tunes. I'm going to be DJing a little set for you guys and giving away some prizes, I hope. I got 2 or 3 things in mind. Still working out the mechanics for some other stuff, but it's going to be a fun time regardless. And you can, join me on the chat. Maybe make some requests. We'll see. It's going to be fun. There's going to be, I'm going to be, celebrating from my station. I'm not sure about you. I'm going to be your MC and DJ for the night. So pop open some bottles. Get groovy with your friends in a responsible way based on your local COVID guidelines. And I haven't decided between YouTube or Twitch. I got to do some more research on that. But if anyone has any recommendations or suggestions, let me know. I'm happy to hear your options. I think I might be leaning more towards Twitch for now, but we'll see. Either way, tune in, man. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a free show to watch me making a fool of myself on live TV, not TV, streaming, whatever. It's going to be a blast. No doubt about that. I am ready. Speaking of tuning in, you can follow Dusty Organ on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube, assuming you're not watching this on YouTube. But if you're not, keep listening and then, go check it out later and subscribe. Or send it to your friends. Do it right now. Just copy a link, send it to your friends, and they're going to love you for it. Really. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for showing me this band. Thanks very much for showing me this group and this band and this show. Oh my God, my favorite music's all on this show all the time. He's such a good blogger or whatever the word. I don't even know what to call myself when people ask. You should go do that in the meantime while you're listening to this episode. Okay? I've got to, talk this intro in for the next track anyway. So you have a few minutes to be kind of distracted on social media while you follow all the accounts and send them to your friends. If one of you sends it to 10 friends and one of those friends sends it to 10 more friends, that'd be a lot of people by my standards. So go do it. Now, on the topic of social media, this next track is all about that. But unlike my feed, where it's all good news and even better tunes, there is a healthy chunk of the internet that is all bad news. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term doom scrolling or doom surfing. If you're not, it's basically taking in a whole lot of bad news all at once, courtesy of the internet, which is pretty common. Sometimes I feel like every day someone is spinning a globe on their desk and then is putting a finger down randomly and finding something terrible that's happening within that country or city or whatever. And then they'll look it up on the news and then post it online and be like, oh my God, why is the media not covering this? Dude, it hasn't even been a single day since the last social media fundraiser for that disaster in that other side of the world country. Just give me a second, man. Just give me 1 second to process all this stuff. Anyways, Freaking Me Out, the newest single from London dance pop trio Benin City, is all about that feeling of doom scrolling. About the song, Benin City member Joshua Iden says, I wrote it as a soundtrack to doom scrolling disco, if you will. Staring at Twitter, constantly refreshing the screen for the next bit of bad news to blanket over me. Worldwide, it's felt like an even more relentless wave of bad news, especially since 2016, and hella hard to look away or tune out. My verse is a wish that I could. I'm not sure what happened in 2016 to Joshua ever since then, but I'm going to argue that this whole doom scrolling thing goes back even further, like 2006, when Twitter first launched, at the very least. Either way, Freaking Me Out is a perfect combination of worry, anxiety, and groove, which is strange to say in a sentence. But it brings out all the fun bits of underground music and new disco, and then everything starts to feel better once the hook hits. And even though the group sings about it, about freaking out and all that stuff and wanting to leave the quote-unquote party, it's like you're there in the party and ignoring the evil voice in your head that's whispering a bunch of bad things into your ear while you're trying to dance at the club. And then eventually it just vanishes because the music's so much better and so much more important. So with that in mind, let's just focus on the song here, guys. You can listen to the lyrics once, but just go back and Don't get too crazy and depressed. Just listen to the music. It's a good track. Here is Freaking Me Out from Benin City.
Something's freaking you out. Something's eating you up. Something's got your goat. Something's pulling you down, down, down. Something's tearing you up. Something's making you mad. Got you going round and round. Oh my God. Hold on for 1 second, oh my God. And it's all just a little too much. And the playlist is playing the blues. And the television's full of fools. And I don't know what I could do. And it's all, maybe you should stop. Turn the beat way down. Call the Uber up. 'Cause this party's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. Maybe we should stop. Turn the beat way down. Call the Uber up. 'Cause this party's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. Something's got to give. I can't live like this, no, no. Someone's got me messed up, about to flip my lid. Something's got to change. All this shit that I can't fix. Not enough space in my head. 'Cause something's freaking you out. Something's keeping you up. Something's slowing you down. Got you going round and round. Oh my God. Hold on for 1 second, oh my God. And it's all just a little too much. And the playlist is playing the blues. And the television's full of fools. And I don't know what I could do. And it's all, maybe you should stop. Turn the beat way down. Call the Uber up. 'Cause this party's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. Maybe we should stop. Turn the beat way down. Call the Uber up. 'Cause this party's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. Maybe you should take the needle off the wax. The song is really down. Change the channel, turn it off. The noise is killing me. Call the Uber, take me home. This party's freaking me out. This party's freaking me out. Party's freaking me out. Maybe you should take the needle off the wax. The song is really down. Change the channel, turn it off. The noise is killing me. Call the Uber, take me home. This party's freaking me out. This party's freaking me out. Party's freaking me out.
Hey, by the way, did you sign up for my monthly newsletter yet? If you want an easy, inexpensive way to support the blog, why not sign up for the newsletter? I send out a little monthly update, and it just went out this morning, one of them, and it makes me feel like people are listening and interested in my work, which in itself is basically priceless, right? So go be a good person. Go do it right now. There's a fun little pop-up that comes up when you go to dustyorgan.com, or there's a link in the description if you want. Very, very easy to do. And it's cheap and easy and doesn't cost you nothing. And if you have already subscribed to my newsletter, then you would have gotten it in your inbox the other day and all the fun links that are inside. If you think about it, it's like a little box of chocolates, and now the links are your favorite chocolates, and you can pick whichever one you want because they're all great. They're all your favorites. Sounds like a fake box of chocolates to me, though, because if you ask me, there's always at least 2 that I just don't want to touch that are just disgusting. Anything with coconut or white chocolate, you can have those. Blah. So I'll just stick to my ULRs. Okay, thanks. Or sour candies. If you want to please me with sour candies, that's fine too. Speaking of chocolate, this next band is named something that would be an absolute disaster if it was combined with chocolate. Brighton-based group Squid are generating a lot of buzz already this year, considering they have yet to release their full-length album since their debut in 2017. But all that will change later this year, when the post-punk British revivalists will drop their debut album, Bright Green Field. There's no date yet, but it's coming up soon. And interestingly enough, none of their previous released singles will be on the album. None of them. Normally, at least 1 or 2 older tracks kind of sneak their way onto a debut album. It's almost just tradition at this point. But for the 5-piece, they're starting from scratch instead. Their new single, Narrator, is the first taste of the album and is a colossal 8.5-minute track with a bunch of math rock infused with the post-punk and post-rock. It's killer. But don't worry, I've got a shorter radio edit version that they shared with me. But if you do enjoy what you're hearing, I highly, highly, highly suggest checking out the full version. It's worth the time. Plus, the music video kind of builds on the song's theme about meshing of memories, dreams, and reality, and it's actually based on this 2019-2018 movie called A Long Day's Journey into Night. It's a Chinese film, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have never heard of it until today, and after looking it up and watching the trailer, I really want to see it. It looks really, really cool. There's apparently this 59-minute single take in 3D. I got to see for myself. Pretty cool stuff. If you have seen it, let me know if you liked it. Anyways, we're talking about Narrator, the song Narrator. The music video, it explores the world of 3D as well, kind of blending the world around the band where they're situated into this malleable, half-rendered landscape. And it keeps slowly switching around them. It's really, really cool. And it brings out the art rock aspect of their song, with the band's playful time signatures and polymeter guitar riffs. And the thing is, there's a lot of bands, especially from the UK right now, that are making this new style of post-punk. But Squid are kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit more. They're experimenting differently and pulling it off at the same time. So it's really, really fun to listen to. And I'm very excited to hear this full-length record. And it feels weird to say this, but if you're in Europe, the group will be heading out on a tour this spring. There's going to be touring in Europe. Oh my God. As a bitter Canadian, I'm just so jealous. Yeah, so go check their website for dates because I'm not going to tell you because it's irrelevant to my life. Anyways, what's not irrelevant is you can watch the full version on the latest From the Inbox blog post. You won't regret it. It's a really great song, really cool music video, really cool band. So for now, here is a radio edit of Narrator from UK quintet Squid, featuring additional vocals from Martha Skye Murphy. All right, we're coming up to the end of the show, and I've got one more song for you. If you do the math, you probably already figured it out. This one is from Michaela Slinger, the lovely lady I mentioned in the intro, and a clip from our interview together. So I hope you've been enjoying the show thus far and have discovered some great new music. Don't forget to check out the full blog post, the From the Inbox blog post, over at dustyorgan.com. I think, I never really count anymore, I've stopped counting, but I think there is 28 tracks, all of which deserve your full attention. And if you're more into the album side of music, you can read my latest album reviews in no particular order. Specifically, I break down the new album from Weezer. They went full analog and orchestral. Very interesting. And the debut release from Arlo Parks. And funny enough, Michaela and I talk about Arlo Parks in the interview. The full interview, you'll have to wait for that to hear our little chat. If you haven't already, so go check out the Arlo Parks review if you haven't already. So then you know what we're going to talk about when the interview comes out. And if you're not familiar with Michaela Slinger, she is a Vancouver-based singer-songwriter who is putting out her debut album this April. Her new single, Make You Sad, was just released back in January, and it comes alongside a stunning music video, which was, funny enough, shot with her close group of friends who's kind of been helping her along the ride this whole time, and it came out this past Friday. Her mix of indie pop and folk sounds makes for an ear-pleasing combination. She's been singing since she was about 3 years old, and there's a really fun story in the interview, so it's no surprise that her voice is perfectly placed at the forefront, channeling some Stevie Nicks and Carly Rae Jepsen. She talks a bit about the song's meaning and its connection to relationships, both for herself and her co-writers, and here's a little clip from the interview that kind of talks about that. So this new song, Make You Sad, we're finally coming back around to this track. It's a very nice tune. There was one part of it, I think right before you go into the chorus, that reminded me so much of Fleetwood Mac, the song
Woo-hoo!
Everywhere. You know,
Do you know how much I love that song?
Yeah.
That is such a compliment.
I think it's not to get technical, but I think just like you go into like a perfect fifths into the chorus, and it sounds so much like that chorus on Everywhere, and I was like, oh,
Is it that like the
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yep.
It reminds me so much of that, and I keep getting it stuck in my head, and it's a song about relationships, which is another important thing as you know, as a becoming musician, and it's about let me let you explain it because I don't want to take these words. So what kind of open up about what Make You Sad is all about?
Yeah, well, I guess Make You Sad, the initial idea that I had, because this was actually the only sort of like three-way co-write that I did with my two producers who produced my entire debut album. Most songs I would come in and I'd either fully written them, or they might contribute like a couple lyric ideas, or they'd help me piece together the bridge. But this was the only one where we did kind of Nashville style, where the three of us just got into a room, we were going to make a song from scratch. And it obviously, it turned out really well. I think it's a pretty special song. But the initial idea I had, because I played a couple of voice notes and this was what launched the song, was those two opening lines. So I just had a voice note. You know what? It actually was when I was in Toronto.
There you go.
I think in 2019, I had the idea. So it was the say you want to have a candid conversation, doesn't seem like that. And I played that for them. They were like, okay, let's go with that. So I had a challenging conversation, and then one of my co-writers, Louise Burns, she was also going through in her own life with one of her own relationships a challenging time about communication and communication breakdown and bringing past baggage into current conversation. So I think we were able to kind of, blend our two experiences together to write something that felt personal to all three of us in the room. But it feels like every word I mean when I'm thinking about my specific situation, but I think it's the same for her. She feels like it totally relates to where she was at that point in time too.
The full interview will be out tomorrow. It's Wednesday, so don't forget to check back here at the From the Inbox the podcast. It's a great chance to learn more about the song, the music video, Michaela herself, and include some fun stories about herself, including the unofficial start to her career. Hint, it has something to do with the national anthem. Don't Google her name and national anthem and cheat. Just listen to the story in the interview. Now, despite the song's name, Make You Sad is more hopeful and optimistic than depressing, so don't worry, this isn't going to be another sad song. And like a few of the other tracks on this week's show, go watch the music video! I would show it on my YouTube channel if I could, but that's not fair to her, and there's copyright laws for a reason, so instead, head over to the latest from the Inbox blog post, and you can find Make You Sad right at the top of the rotation. You can't miss it. So, without further ado, here is Make You Sad from Michaela Slinger. She puts it, that's Michael with an A and Singer with an L, in case you were wondering.
Say you wanna have a candid conversation, doesn't seem like that. All those times I tried to say it, then you cried, yeah, you can't take it back. Oh, I didn't mean to make you sad. Try to let you in behind the curtain and you block me out. I'm sitting and I'm listening, silently wishing you'd release control. Oh, why can't you allow me to say I need a little more from you? Now you walk out on me, that's predictability, and I'm falling forwards. Catch you if I can, say I won't speak again as our sky gets darker. I can't tell you what I want to pretend we'll make it through this way. It's effortless. It's effortless. Screaming on the street that I've ruined everything. I watch you lose it. That my face is in your hands. You're kissing me again like there's nothing to it. Oh, I'm watching my life back on tape. Oh, I guess that some things never change. Now you walk out on me, that's predictability, and I'm falling forwards. Catch you if I can, say I won't speak again as our sky gets darker. I can't tell you what I want to pretend we'll make it through this way. Making bad look easy. You don't care to please me. I'm still not leaving. I can't tell you what I want to pretend we'll make it through this way. Oh, I'm watching my life back on tape. It's effortless. Oh, I guess that some things never change. It's effortless. I can't tell you what I want to pretend we'll make it through this way.
All right, thank you so much for tuning into this week's show. If you'd like to show your support, speaking of shows, please visit my Patreon or buymeacoffee.com or the online store, patreon.com/dustyorgan, buymeacoffee.com/dustyorgan, or dustyorgan.com/shop. 3 very easy options. And throwing money at me and my work is the absolute best way for me to feel like a complete human being. Because right now I only feel like half of one. So go ahead and do that for me. Make me complete. I'll send you a winter bundle for $20 if you do. Just email me and I will do that for you. I'll set you up. Pick black or gray. Sold some last month. Very happy customers. Otherwise, you can also show your support by subscribing to the newsletter, which I've talked about before, or following us online, or telling your friends about the blog. Word of mouth is probably best, actually. It's a timeless tradition of sharing good news with people you're close with. So practice saying it with me. Go check out Dusty Organ. What's it called? Dusty Organ. That's a stupid name. Who came up with that? I did. Why would you call it Dusty Organ? Well, I was listening to this song. You know what? It's a long story. I'll have to save that for another time. Oh, you guys almost thought I was going to tell you the backstory. Actually, if you want me to, I will maybe on the live stream. There we go. That's a good place. I'll play it on the live stream. I'm going to tell the story, the origin story. I'm going to go way back in history and tell you the origin. Oh my God, I can't talk. This is how long the show's been going on. It's too late. I gotta stop this now before I start fumbling all of my words. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Go do your best work over at dustyorgan.com. Lots of fun things to explore, and I'll be seeing y'all next week. I'm not very good at goodbyes, so goodbye. From the Inbox was written and recorded by Kane Wilkinson. Editing was done by a Bluetooth speaker. It was recorded in front of a two-way mirror. From the Inbox is a Dusty Organ production. All songs were used with the proper permissions. I'm getting really good at that.